Hi, thanks for watching another Saasu training video. In this video, I'm going to attempt to do a bank reconciliation. Along the way, I'm going to try and explain to you what my actions are and why I'm doing this. So hopefully you will be able to understand how to do a bank reconciliation using our automated bank feed feature. So I'm currently in the bank I'd wish to do a reconciliation for. And it's only going to be for a very narrow part of time. So it's technically just 1 week that I'd like to reconcile. And this is what we suggest as well, that for all users to reconcile at least once a week so that they don't end up having work to catch up on, so to say. Okay, so starting from the main bank feed screen, we can already see there are suggestions that have already been indicated in blue here, and they have the ticks next to them ready to go. So all we need to do is verify that these transactions are correct. So we can look into the invoice by clicking on the sale, and we can confirm that the amount of $100 as a sale on the 1st of July is the correct one. Then we'll simply click on close. And that takes us back to the bank feed screen. So we're happy with this. So we'll select the tick. I'm just going to work through the ticks first. Now the second one is for the 4th of July, and it does look quite similar to the last one, but we'd like to just double check. So again, $40 amount on the 4th of July. In here, we probably should have put in the customer's name just so we can cross-reference. But as this is just a test case, we're okay. And we'll just confirm that one as well. And lastly, this is a withdrawal, not a deposit. So we'll just check the purchase invoice. And yes, that is for fuel, $60 for the 5th of July. So that's correct as well. And we'll just put that. Okay, so now we only have one transaction left, and this is ATM cash out. So what we can do then is just journal it out. Cash. It's fine. We'll leave the tax code blank. Okay, great. So your inbox is now empty, which means everything has been matched. You can view all your matched entries in this screen, and you can go back to it. Now, the next thing you want to do is bring up your actual bank statement as you go through the bank reconciliation report. Banking, reconciliations, and if it's the first time you're using this report, you will end up in this page. But if it's not your first time, then you will end up in the next page, which has already pre-filled some settings that you've previously entered. So that's fine, you can just change these. So here's a statement I've downloaded from my bank, which I have edited to show that there are 5 transactions and the closing balance is $10. Now currently the opening balance is 0, so I'm just going to reflect these two figures, the opening and closing balance, in the bank reconciliation report for the date. So opening balance is, and the statement closing balance, so that matches the statement. Now there's a difference of $40, and if we look closely at the transactions on this list, you will see that there is one that's not showing up. So if we look closely, I think it's this one on the 3rd of July, because we don't have any transactions on the 3rd of July. Now, if the list is quite long and you need to work through individually all these transactions, I would suggest you work based on the transaction statement and indicate on your statement which transactions need further investigation or which ones are missing. So in our case, we know there was only one transaction that's missing, and that's a $40 debit on the 3rd of July. So Now what we need to do is figure out what happened to this transaction and how to rectify it. Firstly, what we can do is let's save this bank reconciliation to say that we have begun the reconciliation, although the difference is still 40. Let's go to our automate bank feeds to see if we can find this particular. It's going to change bank. Okay, so there are still no items found, and I can look at all matched, or I can look at all transactions. So when I look at all transactions, I can see there are still only 4 transactions and none mentioning the 3rd of July's transaction. The thing we can do is look in our deleted box to see perhaps have we accidentally deleted any transactions, and these are wrongly dated and the wrong amounts, so those are also incorrect. Next thing we want to do is let's see if we have entered any other records in Saasu for this 3rd of July's transaction. So let's go to our purchases screen. Okay, so we can see there is an entry here on the 3rd of July for the amount of $40, and that says it's dinner. Okay, so we have already created an invoice, but what seems to have happened is the feed for this particular invoice has not come through as demonstrated by our bank feed entry. So what we can then do is, because we are not using our automated bank feeds, what might have happened is we may have left this data out of the spreadsheet that we imported. So we can amend this by importing just this line entry. So let me just move this. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go in and delete everything in this spreadsheet, leaving the only line that I want to import. So I'm going to save it as a CSV spreadsheet, and I will then import this into import. And again, choosing the spreadsheet options, and then choose your spreadsheet. So as soon as you import this, you should see in the bank feed screen that $40 has a recommended suggestion, which is purchase number 12. And let's confirm that that is the same one. Yes, it is the same one, so we'll close out of there and select the tick. Okay, now we can run our report again for bank reconciliation. And now we can see 3rd of July shows up as 40 withdrawal. And we just simply enter in, it's a $10 closing balance, and the difference is 0. So that is considered a successful bank reconciliation. You've checked your bank feeds, you've looked at your bank statements, and they match each other. And in the bank rec, you've entered in the opening balance, as well as the closing balance, and the difference is 0. So that suggests that your bank for the period between the 1st and the 15th of July has been reconciled. So sometimes you may come across a scenario where the payment has come back into your inbox and you're not quite sure why this is so, because we have reconciled this transaction before. So another alternative is change from inbox to all view. That will give you an indication of what has already been matched and what is still outstanding. So here we can see that it's showing 2 sale payments for $100. So this is technically the recommendation. So it's really the same transaction. I have a warning sign here that means it's an unmatched transaction. Now what this means, if we click in here, it will show us that although we have already marked the invoice as paid, it's still showing up as unmatched in our bank feeds. So the next thing we should do is look at our bank reconciliation report. And once we run it for the appropriate date, we can actually see that this particular transaction has been unticked in the bank rec report. So simply ticking and unticking boxes in the bank rec report will directly affect your bank feed matching process. So what we want to do is retick this box, hit save. Let's go back to our bank feeds page. So now back in the bank feeds page, we want to just double check that that's correct. And here it says it's now reconciled but unmatched. All we simply do is click on the tick and just double check that that's been matched properly. And then bring back the bank reconciliation report and we'll just rerun it again for the same date. And this time you will see that the report has been confirmed, and in our bank feeds there are no outstanding items. So just be careful when you are unticking these boxes that you don't hit save unless you know that it is a transaction that you need to look further into. Otherwise, if you do decide to untick the box, make sure you retick it before you hit the save button so that it doesn't affect your already matched bank feeds.